do anything special for Rice from a schematic standpoint, or it's just they're tough to read?
They just do a lot, like always. So, just a lot schematically. It's got to be ready for them.
What did it mean to you to see Frank Harris get on the Davy Bryan Award semifinalist list yesterday?
He gets on so much stuff. I don't know the difference between any of it, so I just always like it, retweet it, put hashtag 210 triangle toughness, move on.
I know on the radio you mentioned the Harris for Heisman campaign. What would it realistically take to get something like that started for a program at this level?
Us to be creative, you know, and get it going. His play warranted. Just we got to get it going.
Does the team have to have a year like last year where you're undefeated and in the rankings, or do you think just with enough stats that it could be possible?
Oh, I don't know. I really don't know. I just know how important he is to our team and our city, and I know what kind of human he is. So I'd vote for him.
Jeff, comparing this point last season, or this point this year to last season, and I think you mentioned it earlier in the year, it feels like, is this team better than last year's, or is that a hard comparison to make?
I don't think we're as probably talented or as deep of a roster just because of so many of the super seniors. I just think it's the expectations. The first year was kind of like, oh well, it was COVID. That probably didn't really count.
Yeah.
Then the next year, it was like, holy mackerel, these guys won 11 games in a row. What a neat little story down there in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And now it's a bunch of kids that just think they're supposed to go out there. Doesn't matter who they play, they're supposed to find a way to win. Doesn't matter who's injured. Doesn't matter the circumstances. We played in weather. We've done it all. And these guys just keep finding a way. And it's probably only one time it's been beautiful of the 10. The other 9, we've kind of probably been frustrating for you guys. Probably up and down would be a good way to describe us. Like you see flashes of excellence, and then you see things you're like, Jiminy Cricket, what's going on out there? And, those injuries have been hard to overcome, but our kids just keep doing it. It's just, I'd just say it's a mindset. So I know you asked if we're better. Probably talent-wise, I don't know if we're going to have anybody that's going to be the NFC Rookie of the Month. I hope we do. I mean, I really do. I'm rooting. I know this, whatever guys get invited to a camp, they'll go represent the Triangle when they get to camp.
Jeff, the weather forecast for Saturday looks pretty cold and rainy up in Houston. How are you guys preparing for that?
Big Ten football. We get the balls out there wet. And luckily, it's been 44 here, 48, so it's been cold here. That'll help us as well. And we just added the elements as far as just making sure we're handling wet footballs all week.
What do you tell your guys about how to handle that on game day? There's the old school, just go out there in your jersey and pants and tough it out versus if you want to wear a jacket because you're more comfortable, just do it. Do you care?
Yeah, I care. We're going to be as warm as possible. In 2007, we were playing Liberty Hill for the state championship, and I was still that young, stupid coach that thought, you go out there and just show them how tough you are. So we didn't have jackets on. We were tough. Liberty Hill had freaking, they were covered from top to bottom with the nicest, warmest looking jackets on. And when they got called out there, they shredded, and they went out there and kicked our tail, and they came back and put it back on. And we just froze to death on the sideline, got our tail kicked, and we froze to death on the field. And that's the last time I was ever that stupid. We're going to be warm as much as possible until we don't have to be.
Do you guys have heaters and stuff on the sideline? What's the setup in a situation like that?
We do. But you couldn't tell by the way North Texas kicked our tail last year. And that's where we've learned the most about that. We are reminding daily our kids about that experience.
What does that do to the game plan? Does it change how you approach things?
I just think you got to have some common sense, and you don't ever know either. We're still 4 days out.
Yeah.
There's a 100% chance of rain at FIU, and we got some. There's a 100% chance of rain at UAB. 100. Pastor P was doing our devotion, and I asked Pastor P. I said, "Do you believe you can pray that stuff out of here?" And Pastor P said, "I know we can." He gave me a story about where he had done it. He said, "I'm just to pray it out of here Saturday." I said, "Well, So I told my team today, I said, unless Pastor P prays this thing right on out of here, it looks like we're going to be playing in a rainstorm Saturday.
I know there were a lot of factors that went into North Texas last year. Was the weather one of the bigger ones, or was it a lot of other stuff that was in play?
No, North Texas was in the same weather we were. I mean, it's all fair. It's all fair.
Are you handling it differently this time around, or is it just the mental approach to it?
No, it's nothing we can do different about it. I mean, we practiced wet ball last. You still do the same stuff. It's just I don't remember if it was really cold the entire week before that game. It's been a while now, but I do know that the cold weather this week is going to help us. You can see right now which kids can handle it and which kids can't. You can already tell. Like, there are kids that just can't function in it, and there are some kids that it's like they were born to just ride.
It's kind of the same situation. Rice is on 5 wins, and I mean they have 2 to get 6, but they're going to probably throw their best at you.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, the analogy is very similar. We were on an 11-game win streak last year. We're on a 7-game win streak this year. Last year we were undefeated in conference. This year we're undefeated in conference. They're playing for a bowl game. I will say there is one slight caveat. We are playing for home field Saturday. We do have something to play for. But then again, to go undefeated last year was pretty cool. I mean, that was something to play for too. So for us to say we didn't have anything to play for is a slight exaggeration in my opinion.
Jeff, I think there's like a month and a week from signing day, early signing period. How are things going on the recruiting trail for you guys?
Like always, ups and downs. Kids we think we've got, and all of a sudden some SEC schools come in there and steal them from you. Just that kind of stuff. You work so hard, develop relationships, and sometimes it's very frustrating when someone comes in this late and just, takes a kid from you. At the same time, there's going to be some kids we don't even know about right now. There are surprises that we're going to bring in here, and all be thrilled we got them. So I've said this a million times, and I know y'all are the poor ones that have to listen to me the most. And I apologize for how I keep saying the same thing. I really believe what I say, so you say the same stuff a lot, right? It's evaluation's very important. Recruiting's very important. The most important piece of all the 3 is the development. It's the process. It's what do you do with them once you get them here. That's the biggest piece. And I wish there was way more coverage of how they turned out and what you did with them once you got them versus winning the recruiting. I can give you quite a few examples of schools that have won the day on recruiting and they lose a lot of Saturdays. What is that? If you won the recruiting day, but you're losing more on Saturdays than guys that did not win the recruiting day, one, the recruiting evaluation that the experts said must have been wrong, or the development of the process is not correct. It's only one of those 2 things.
You have a number in your head of how many guys you want to sign in December? I know the transfer portal's kind of changed a lot of the early period.
So I don't want to have that conversation right now. We're chasing a championship right now. I really don't want to bring in a bunch of kids and see, it's like even senior day next week's awkward.
Yeah.
You don't even, there's so many kids. Are you a senior? Are you not a senior? I mean, do you want to do this? Do you not want to do this? Do you want to do it next year? I really don't want to have that conversation right now when we're hunting for a championship.
Yeah.
And we're one of the few teams in the country that are 2 years in a row competing for a championship again. So it's just unfortunate timing. We are having some of those conversations, unfortunately, we have to. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, I can't give you like a number because I'm not sure how many of my guys are leaving.
Right.
Because they're not stupid. If a young guy is already playing above you, well, that guy, he might love the triangle toughness and he might love the race building, but he loves playing more. So he's probably going to go somewhere where he can play.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many of those conversations we're going to have yet. As far as just numbers, I know how many kids are graduating, so I know I got to recruit to that number. And then you're probably guessing 5 to 7 over that, just a guess.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you have a really proud development story on the roster right now? Somebody who was maybe not that highly recruited, do you feel like they've come a long way?
Well, if you'd have prepped me
Well, you brought it up, so.
I probably would have had a really good one for you. You know, Trey Moore.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought as a redshirt freshman, he might have been arguably one of our best defensive football players. I don't know where Traylor was in the recruiting back in the day. I know when I got here, he was, you know, a little kid that played really hard, and now he's a single-digit guy that I don't know. I really don't know. I know y'all think I don't know. Like, literally, JJ tells me, I never know where we are in the recruiting rankings. I never look. I know I have a president that is extremely concerned about that, so that matters to me. So occasionally I will call JJ and say, JJ, where are we? Because I don't know. I do read your articles. I do. And that's about it. I don't look at anything else, and the only reason I do that is I have to sit down with you once every couple of weeks, and we do the interviews, so I want to see what you say. I just believe that if I spend all my time worrying about what other people say about me, that it might influence my decisions, and I don't want to be influenced. I want to go with what I think is right, always. So I don't want to recruit who somebody tells me to recruit. I want to recruit because I know in 4 to 5 years I got to win with this kid. That's it. End of story. And if I do that, y'all are going to all be happy. And if I don't do that, y'all are going to be not happy.
Coach, you talked about just how frustrating it is when you recruit a kid hard and then somebody else comes in the last minute, swipes him. What do you tell your staff? What's your approach when something like that happens? Because that's a lot of time, a lot of investment to do that. But, you know, it's the landscape of college football. I mean, 10, 15 years ago when a kid gave him a commitment, it was like, all right, yeah, he's coming. What's your approach now in this changing landscape?
That's someone's baby, and we're going to love them. And because that's what we're supposed to do. Now, with the transfer portal, I can't tell you how many kids that might chase the Power 5 eyes that get up there and they realize it's a lot colder than they thought, it's a lot further away from home than they thought. They miss mom, they miss Texas, they miss the relationship they have with us, and we get them back on the second time around. So, one, you're supposed to treat them good. Like Kendre Miller, the running back at TCU, is one of my favorite kids I've ever recruited. We lost him the night before signing day at TCU. We were the only school he had, and he's quite arguably one of the best running backs in the country. And I reached out to Kendre this week to let him know how much I loved him, how proud I was of him. Reached out to his mom, his father, and Savion Marshall's a wide receiver at TCU. And, you know, I was his first offer too. And he's from Marshall. And just reached out, let him know how happy I was, how good they're doing for Sonny, and how good it is for East Texas. You know, I'm from there. I still keep up with all those East Texas kids. So we've lost a lot of kids, and it's just part of the deal, right? And one of the main things in this business is you can't take anything personal. When JJ second guesses, he hated the Philly special Saturday. He hated it. He's already told me 100 times. And you can't take it personal. Like, you just can't. Because here's what I understand. The only reason we get to do all this is because you guys love it so much. It's a passion of y'all's too. It's a passion for fans. That's what makes people talk about it and second guess and critique. Well, don't take it personal. No one would be here interviewing me right now if it didn't matter to those people. So we just try really hard to not take it personal. Remember that someone's baby, love them, and we might get them the next time around.
Thanks, Jeff.
See ya.
Thanks, Jeff.